I discovered that if you, as a black man, if you want to be an active father in your children's lives, your children almost have to be mixed.
What are you getting out of putting your black ass child in proximity to white people, especially at a young age?
Welcome back, or welcome to the Social Grade School. My name is Asa Taylor. I'm going to be your host for today. And today we got to talk about a man says if you want to be an active father in your children's life, do not marry a black woman. Now, the other side of that argument is go and do everything black. Have a black wife, put him in a black school, put him in a black college, and then have him work for other black people. Kind of socially stunting the growth of your children if you want to go that route. But I understand two sides of the equation, and only dating women of the opposite races other than black is something that I've discussed in the past on black men and white women, and you guys can go check that out after this video if you guys are so inclined. But for now, let's check out what this brother has to say, and we'll give some commentary after he gets done.
When did you come to this understanding?
Years ago, and I discovered that if you, as a black man, if you want to be an active father in your children's lives, your children almost have to be mixed, because the black American woman will not allow you to be in your children's life. And the more you love that child, the more she's going to use the child against you.
Damn! This brother's up here dropping that ether. Have you witnessed this before in your immediate proximity, in your family's life and in friends' lives, things like that? The difficulty associated with it?
Absolutely. I have cousins, sisters. I've seen this behavior perpetuate itself throughout my entire lineage. And I respect everyone. I love everyone. You do whatever you want to do. But if you're a thinking black man, I don't think you can sit down and try to build with a black American woman. Maybe an African woman, maybe a Caribbean woman, Asian, Hispanic, but not a black woman, not a black American woman.
Damn it. Listen, you guys know me. If I were to try to give him some pushback, you guys would call me hypocrites, because you've heard me say everything that he's saying right now dozens and dozens of times. When you hear men like this displaying their contempt, there's a problem. There's a problem. If men view the women like this, where are we going to get the kids from? Because quality men won't lay down with women like this. So that means these women will only other option they'll have is to lay down with other broken men. And then what do you think comes out of that vahoo when a broken man lies down with a broken woman?
It's hard to argue with the point. It's hard to argue with his point. For years and years and years, what have we been saying? We want all natural women. We don't want the long nails. We don't want the long eyelashes. We don't want the weave. We can do the braids, but we prefer you guys natural because it just shows you're very secure in who you are and you're very confident in who you are. I believe some of the most confident women in the world are American black women, just by the way they walk around today. I mean, just look at them and look at the statue in New York. That's all you need to look at. So this gentleman goes off the deep end. Per some of you guys will say he goes off the deep end, and he even says, if you want to be in your kids' lives, do not marry a black woman, because it's been a proven fact. Then he mentions all these other different races of women as well that has an edge in the family department, that has an edge in the rearing department, and that actually wants to do it as a countermeasure to back up his point. This brother even says it's hard to kind of argue with his point, and I agree with him. Now, on the other side, we have this other gentleman. You guys have seen him before in this channel from the Grits and Eggs podcast that says pretty much the opposite of what this brother says. He says that only do black things, only marry a black woman, only put your kids in black schools. What good is it if they're around a bunch of white people? Now, I don't agree with that, because that's socially stunting the growth of your child, and you don't intentionally want to do that. So we'll check out what he says. We'll comment in between, just depending on what he says. But more so, I'm shooting the comment after that. So let's check out his video.
What are you getting out of putting your black ass child in proximity to white people, especially at a young age? Because if we said if the goal of white supremacy is to erode the soul, What do you think's happening to your children when you subjugate them to ostracization and racism at such a young age? They're like formative years they're spent trying to assimilate with racist. Because if you think they ain't being called a nigger at school, you're out of your fucking mind. You subjecting your kids to racism at such a young age when it's not necessary because you think the education is better? And is it a better education, or do they just have better amenities?
It's just better amenities.
And how is the education better if the whole educational system is based off of lies and propaganda? What are you expecting? A better education? No, you just think that ice is colder. That's what they think.
Yeah.
They think the closer you are to white people, the better you are, the more equal you'll be. But how the fuck you gonna be equal to people that deemed you 3/5 of a human? How?
Okay. This is where these guys, these Dr. Umars, these Jamal Bryants, these guys who go off the deep end and they want to talk about slavery and they deemed you 3/5 of the person. This never happened in our lifetime. This never happened in our father's lifetime. This never happened in our great-grandfather's life or grandfather's life. Maybe a little further back if you guys have a long lineage, but in the immediate 3 to 4 generations, slavery wasn't even a thing. Slavery wasn't even a thing. Like, I just don't understand the motive behind bringing this up. It's like a pain point. You're pulling on the heartstrings of just different people for profit and for gain. It's similar to the rap industry and the entertainment industry that profit off of the pain of the hood in the black community, and they're kind of glorifying it as to say that if you've been through this, you've actually been black. You're certified. Here's your black card. Yeah, you're eating cereal and water. Like, who would want to do something like that? Who in their right mind would want to do something like that? But people brag about that. Only eating peanut butter sandwiches. Cool, I get it. I did that at one time when I was bulking, but that is not who I am as a person. This is not my experience. I may have went through that purposefully, but they are making this argument their identity and profiting off of it, which is the problem I have, because guess what? Most people are sheep. Most people are looking for someone to lead them, and the wrong people that are leading them. I think this guy has like 60, 70,000 subscribers on YouTube and his podcast, but it's like the blind leading the blind, because this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. Similar with Dr. Umar. These guys need a wake-up call. I mean, people keep telling me I need my Negro wake-up call. Fine, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't happen. Yes, I understand who I am and what I look like, but I don't have to identify with your race or culture because of the negative stereotypes that are attached to it. I try to separate myself as best as I can. Can you see my uniform? Let's continue.
How does that work? Explain that math to me. Niggas turned you into a fraction of a person, and you standing in front of them whole, and you remove them completely from blackness. They don't have black neighbors. None of their teachers is black. Oh, you think your child at school causing trouble? No, they're being singled out because these people are fucking racist. You just put them in proximity, and I've heard all these different stories about people like having to being subjected to so much racism. That's going to traumatize your child for the rest of their life. So, for the only way for them to have a good experience is to go along. So they have to remove their dignity. They have to remove their pride because you're severely outnumbered. You can't fight everybody, and the more fights you get into, the more of a problem you are. When you're already seen as a problem to begin with. Now, I understand you're making a little money. You're making a little money, and you want your child to have a better education. It's just more resources. That's really what it is. You know, when we go to the poorer schools, they lack resources, they lack funding. Kids have a rougher at home life, so they come to school to express whatever frustration they can't express at home. But better?
No, it's not better.
I mean, this is America. What do you want them in you want them in a nice, clean classroom with a whole bunch of amenities so they could just learn the lies better? So they can learn the propaganda a little better? Because they ain't gonna have no goddamn opinion. And then they grow up and you put them around all these goddamn white people. You remove them from all the blackness, and then you expect them to have black excellence? That ain't how that work. No, it's not better. What you saying is white people are better. In a nutshell, it's not a better education. You just think that being around more white people makes you better, and it'll make your kid better.
I mean, you guys know how I feel, but I think it's important that we highlight both sides of the argument. One person goes to the extreme and says, no, don't even do it at all. Don't even enter into that field. Another person says, this is the only field that you guys should be entering into as far as education, as far as marriage, as far as everything that you do. Now, for me, I want the best for my kid. And it just so happens that the Anglo-Saxons, the white people, the people who founded this country in America have the best way to do that, have the best education system, the Harvards, the Ivy League schools in Boston. If I have an opportunity to go to an Ivy League school, a blue chip school, over an HBCU, I'm taking the Ivy League every single time. It's not about the amenities. It's not about who's better. What it's about is networking. What it's about is setting yourself up for the future. What it's about is creating those connections that can last you a lifetime. What it's about is creating leverage and options. If you give yourself the best options up front, similar to where you live and where you grow up, you have those options available to you, but can you take full advantage of them? I'm in America. I can take full advantage of my freedom of speech. If I was in the UK, I wouldn't be able to do that. My being born here in the United States, even though my dad was military, if I was born overseas in Germany and my dad wasn't military, I would have a lot harder time trying to get over here and establish myself and establish businesses, because it would need the funds to get here first. And then I would need the funds to live for a little bit and go through that process for another 10, 20 years, maybe 15 years. I don't know how long the process takes. But it's important to highlight all the sides of the argument, but also recognize your advantages. If you hate America this bad, and I'm talking to this gentleman right here that we just saw from the Grits and Eggs podcast. If you hate America that bad and we're just so racist and you just can't stand white people, why not go to South Africa and see how those people are being treated? Why not actually take a trip around the world, go to Switzerland, go to Iceland, go to any of these countries that have Ukraine, Russia, go. I mean, if you want to, and I guarantee you're going to be running back, because America is the safest and the best place to go and to live and to accomplish things that most people could never even accomplish in their home country, even though they love it. So they come here. They establish businesses here. And if it's so racist, why do you have a podcast? Why are you on YouTube? If white people hate you so much and if they're so bad and we just need to educate ourselves, maybe that's true, but we live in 2025. MLK already signed our rights away, and even as he was signing that statement from the FBI integrating the schools, he even said, I might have made a grave mistake. He even acknowledged that this was probably one of the greatest mistakes he's ever made, but it's too late for all of that. We're here now. And you saying this, in my opinion, like I said, you guys already know how strongly I feel about this. You saying this is just setting yourself back and other people back that follow you and your logic. What do you guys think about the content? Did I provide value? If I did, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll meet you downstairs in the comment section below. And if you do have a difference of opinion, if he's right, let me know. Let's debate it. Let's talk about it. I'll talk to you guys later. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll holler at you later. Peace.